Hello guys, welcome back to ARC Exotics, and today we're going to do an Asian forest scorpion setup. Now this video is actually filmed on New Year's Eve, but it will probably go out in January 2021, so as of then, Happy New Year, and I hope you have a great year, and hopefully it will be better than this current one we're in now. Let's hope so. So that aside, let's crack on with today's video of basically upgrading our Asian forest scorpion into a little bit of a bigger vivarium. I wouldn't say vivarium, more of a sort of tub. It's an Exoterra one, but we're just going to upgrade him with the size that he grows instead of just put him into a big one. We're going to explain why he's in a tub and not in a sort of viewing vivarium as such. Pros and cons for that, and yeah, just like I say, just a little setup video showing everything that you need to start off with your Asian forest scorpion. Now the tub that we've got him in, basically that is just how he arrived with us. So there's a few like little bits and bobs in there, like a little bit of a cork bark and some substrate, but obviously it's not as deep as what it should be. It should be quite deep, enough for him to burrow in and under, and obviously it is quite a humid environment as well, so you want things like your sort of substrates like that hold moisture, like the Arcadia stuff, and also sphagnum moss, stuff like that, to keep the humidity up when it is under the heat. So other than that, we're going to show you all the stuff that we're going to be using in today's video, and then we're basically going to do a little step-by-step running down all of the setup. Hopefully at the end it will look good and the scorpion venom will be happy. So let's get on with it. So we are now in the other room, and basically this is the tub he has arrived in. You can kind of just see him running about, and as you can see it is lovely and humid in there for him. Reason you can tell is obviously because the plastic has sort of masked over. You can only just see him through there. But yeah, like I say, that needs to be about that humidity, and obviously the substrate needs to be a lot deeper, which will also help with the humidity factor. We've got all of our bits and bobs here for the setup, but before we get into that, we're just going to show you him. Well, him or her. Obviously a little bit startled, as you can see, and obviously the Asian forest scorpions are very defensive. Wouldn't necessarily say aggressive, but defensive is definitely the right word. As you can see, all in good health, looking good. So yeah, there we go. Nice big stinger on the back there. These are a venomous species, and like I say, yeah, so we've got some bark bits over there, we've got some substrate, got some loads of like little cork barks and logs and little hide. So yeah, let's get into the video and get venom a nice new little setup. So as of right now, this is going to be the current size of his new little setup. Now obviously this is not, well, I don't know, lengthwise it's kind of alright for life, but in future we'd like a nice kind of higher vivarium so we can see him at night under the ultraviolet, which looks really cool. Hopefully I'll insert a clip of that in the side so you can see. So yeah, this is a little Exoterra one of the ones with the little dividers, but obviously that is fully open for him, and you've got two little doors, a little one to drop food in and whatever, and this one, but it's just easier to take it off. So what we're going to do is just start by making sure that this is not too dry, the right humidity, chucking this in, throwing it about, making sure we've got high enough of a sort of level for them to burrow under, because that is where they feel safest and can get to the heat. So we're going to make sure that is a nice kind of thickness there, not too thin like that, which is what it's currently in. I'm very annoyed. Great. Whoa. So yeah, let's get in by doing that, and then we can chuck some of the bark chips over the top of it and in certain areas and look at the hide. So we've placed all of this in, and basically from when it was last done, which was only a couple of days ago, is a good sort of consistency. It is not too dry, and as you can see on the camera, it's picking it up. You can kind of see the moisture in it, so it is holding moisture well. but it's not too wet where you can squeeze it and get water. So yeah, that is a good kind of consistency of what you want. But as far as depth wise, we aren't deep enough. That might look it to you, but these guys, I mean, if I had a big enough tub, I'd actually do it deeper. This would probably be the whole depth, this tub alone. So yeah, we're going to go up probably to where the little vents are. So about there, if we can, or maybe a little bit lower, I guess. And yeah, so basically I always have these in my vivarium, in my reptile room, because you never know when you're going to need them. But I hate getting too much of a bigger one and having loads spare and letting it dry out once you've done it. So yeah, I've got a little sort of emergency cocoa brick, if you would. So we're just going to run this under some hot water in that little tub over there, and hopefully that will also help put the humidity up when he first goes in as well, because it will still be nice and warm. So I'm just going to do that and jump back. So just like that, we have the cocoa thing, whatever it is, cocoa substrate, all mashed up and nice and fluffy, which this feels lovely when it's just been done. So we're just going to add this into here, give it a nice mix up so it's not all on top, and then go from there. So now we've got all that mixed in, hopefully that will also hold the humidity a little bit better because it's still nice and warm. So now what we're going to do is just add these bark chips, which is the fine grade, so they're just, as you can see, nice and thin little bits. I'm just going to scatter them about, and then when we place his hide either that side or wherever, just going to scatter a few on top of the hide and sort of kind of try and blend it in a bit. So yeah, we're going to, that hide is here. So it's a nice little sort of alcove bit for him, either that way or that way. That way it looks a bit better. And then obviously dig it down so it's nice and camouflaged into the sort of substrate. And then hopefully that will look nice. So we're going to try and fit that in there. Also, when we're doing this, we don't want to just kind of like leave it on top. We want to actually move it, dig right to the bottom of here, and then place it into the bottom. So it kind of comes out of the top like that, because then that way if he wants to be at the top he can. But if he'd prefer to be deeper, then he can just go further down. So here we are, guys. Now we've added in the hide. You wouldn't obviously, well, you know there's a hide there, but you wouldn't kind of look at it like this. It's very discreet. Obviously we've blended it in with the bark bits, which are nice and fine. We've put a little bit more bark in this corner here. What we're going to do is just add some live sphagnum moss to it. So this corner is just going to be a little bit sort of deeper, a little bit more moist, just sort of a bit of a damp spot for him. And then, like I say, the hide is all blended in and tucked in at the back, so if we want to see him down there, once the humidity's gone, we will be able to. And it is a nice little entrance as well, and nice and dark down there, as you can see. So if he does want to sort of get deeper and go down, then he can, but if not, he can always go on top of it, or anywhere else really. So yeah, that is now blended in with the bark bit. So what we're going to do is just add a little bit of the live sphagnum moss, and then we're going to decorate with a few more logs, a little bit of leaves and a water bowl, and we should basically be done. So just like that, the moss is added. Like I say, this little corner here will mainly be sort of sprayed down a little bit more than the rest of the tank, just to hold that sort of dampness and humidity. And also, obviously, as you know, the moss does hold it really well, so just kind of camouflaged the hide a little bit more, but I expect it's going to make a mess of that anyway. So yeah, other than that, like I said, now we just got to do this half of the tank and we should be good to put him in it. Just also a little reminder for anyone that is following this video and setting up a scorpion enclosure, that you do want their water dish to be quite shallow and not very deep. Just like this one, it is more kind of a bowl, like, and doesn't sort of edge too far down. So compared to, you wouldn't want something like this, because you can see this is much deeper, and to be fair, if you can help it, you wouldn't really even want anything like that either, because that is still quite deep. So yeah, you want something more kind of bold than you do deep, and just something like that, because they do have a tendency to sometimes drown if the water bowl is overfilled or just too deep in general. So bear that in mind when you're adding a water dish. Also, a lot of people don't add water dishes, but I think it's beneficial because, again, you don't actually know. Yes, you don't know if they drink or not, but like crested geckos, you just should add water. I don't see why you wouldn't. I've even got water in my Madagascan cockroach tank. So yeah, just, do you know what I mean? just add a water bowl. And also as well, again, for your scorpion's benefit, it will also help with the humidity. So we've played about with a few of the logs that we've got, and to be honest with you, nothing really fitted in because, well, we don't really need any more hides, and we've added these leaves into this corner here, sort of buried them a little bit, so if he does want to go sort of underneath them down the back there, he can. But yeah, like putting a log in, for example this one, there's just wouldn't create sort of no benefit to him. I mean, I guess I could have something like that, but again, sort of you've got to bear in mind that he's got a tall stinger which sort of follows behind him, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, I feel like it's just not safe and secure. This gives him a little bit of sort of open space around here. Got a little log here just for a bit of different texture, you know, just something to climb over. He's got his moss as well for different sort of texture and feel. He's got his nice dark hide, got his leaves as well, and a water dish. So basically that is our full setup enclosure for our Asian forest scorpion. So what we're going to do now is add some water into the dish and then get ready to add him into the new enclosure. So guys, we was about to add him in and I looked into his little tub. I don't know if you'll be able to see it through here, but he's actually eating a, there, he's actually eating a waxworm. So obviously this is only his second meal with me. I thought I'd add it in and see what he'd do, but yeah, he has had one locust and now he's eating a waxworm, so I don't really want to transfer him yet because I don't want to distract him or disrupt him from eating and potentially put him off in the future. So I'm just going to wait until he has finished that. There, you can see it a little bit better there. There we go, that's a good shot. So we're just going to let him finish that, because like I said, I don't really want to disturb him. This is only his second meal. So yeah, he spent probably about 3 or 4 days in here, just to make sure he was doing everything he should, and he took his first meal, which was a locust, so I was happy with that, but now he's eating again, which is great. So whilst he's eating, basically this is his enclosure, fully finished. We've sprayed it down with moss. We've obviously sprayed it down with water. We've added some moss over the top. That is nice and damp and humid. We've filled his water bowl up, but not too deep, as you can see. And yeah, basically it is now just waiting for this little guy Venom to finish his meal. Also, another thing whilst he is eating, the best way to actually handle a venomous scorpion is to pick him up by the tail with a pair of tweezers, obviously gently, and then transfer him over. So from here to there. Because this is my first scorpion and I'm not extremely confident enough to do that yet, what I'm going to do is basically just get my gauntlet, which I have for a few of my animals, and do it this way and edge him onto my hand with a tweezer. Once he's on here, transfer him over, because yeah, that is the best way to transfer him. Obviously they are venomous, but I'm not confident enough to do that yet, so I don't want to hurt him, which would obviously, you know, not be good for him and obviously for me, because I'd hate to do that. So yeah, that is hopefully how we're going to transfer him, but I'll show you once he is in. So there we go guys, as you can see, he's still eating like a little pig. You can actually see the waxworm in his mouth, but yeah, looking pretty cool. And now he's just going to explore his new setup and see what he thinks of it. So yeah, that is how to set up an Asian forest scorpion tub, vivarium, whatever you want to call it. And as we guessed, straight down the burrow. Looks like there's going to be no B-roll for you guys. So guys, basically that is the video for the Asian forest scorpion setup. Now, I was editing this and I did forget to do an outro, so this is like a few days later, but he's loving it. He's been exploring a lot. He's underneath the moist kind of damp side that we made for him with the moss burrowed right under there. So yeah, he's doing really well. But other than that, stay updated for more stuff with the Asian forest scorpion and loads of other stuff that we've got coming out in the near future. But other than that, if you have liked the video, make sure you smash the like button down below. Make sure you subscribe and follow the updates of him and all the other guys at ARC Exotics. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for another video.